I'm Dwight Drummond. Tonight, the pandemic left Ontario facing a massive surgery backlog. The province says it has a plan now to tackle the problem.
Hospitals will be able to perform up to 67,000 additional surgeries.
So it's not only the actual time and space to do it, but it's the people.
It will cost hundreds of millions of dollars, but the plan is raising questions about whether hospitals will have enough staff. Plus, hundreds of victims of a disgraced Ottawa fertility doctor will share in a proposed multi-million-dollar settlement. The pandemic created a huge surgery backlog in Ontario, but the province plans to run hospitals at 115% capacity in order to clear those wait lists. The cost estimate to fix the problem is well over $300 million. But as Talia Ricci reports, some experts are questioning whether there will be enough staff to make this happen.
Was scheduled for April 23rd. We had, of course, went into full lockdown just before that, so the week before, so it was canceled.
It was a disappointing call for Billy Kudla after he waited 2 years in pain for a knee replacement. But 2 weeks ago, he was finally in the operating room.
I really hope going forward that anybody who has elective surgeries that were canceled and need to be rescheduled can get them expediently.
That's what the province says it plans to do. Boost the operating capacity of the province's hospital system up to 115% of pre-pandemic levels in order to address a backlog of surgeries and procedures delayed by the pandemic.
Hospitals will be able to perform up to 67,000 additional surgeries on top of the typical volume of 650,000 scheduled surgeries per year, including plans for evenings and weekends.
Ontario Health said the provincial backlog is currently sitting around 200,000, but due to a lack of referrals over the past year, this number is not that different from pre-pandemic waitlist levels. And they're anticipating an increased demand in care. More cancer screening, improving virtual care, and providing funding to increase surgical volumes are some of the initiatives in the plan. But the question experts have is, who's going to do it?
We have the capacity, we have the OR space. So it's finding those people to work after hours to support the surgeries. So it's not only the actual time and space to do it, but it's the people.
We've had health professionals working, almost around the clock, working very hard for the last 16 months. We actually want to run more than 100% in the OR. So we need more nurses.
The head of Ontario Health said health human resource initiatives are part of the plan, including nursing recruitment, and that ramp up doesn't start until the fall so that nurses can take some time in the summer to rest.
It really is about focusing people back on the jobs that they love to do, they're trained to do, and trying to leverage through that.
But Anderson admits staffing is a big challenge and more work needs to be done. Those on the front lines are preparing.
Sometimes you wonder, is there ever going to be a stop so we can actually truly rest and truly actually catch a breath? It doesn't seem like that right now.
The province says it doesn't know exactly how long that backlog will take to clear, but it's aiming to reach that 115% increased capacity by spring 2022. Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
With just over 70% of adults now fully vaccinated, the City of Toronto will soon start winding down some of its mass vaccination sites, switching focus to what are being called hyper-local mobile clinics in areas with low vaccine uptake.
That is why we have our homestretch vaccine push in the Taylor-Massey neighborhood in the city's East End this weekend with 9 micro-targeted pop-up clinics. These clinic locations have been strategically chosen as they're all in areas that are frequented heavily by the local community. For example, grocery stores, shopping plazas, and schools.
The mayor adds on August 22nd, a number of mass vaccination clinics will close. Staff will be redeployed to mobile vaccination operations. Also, as of August 9th, City of Toronto buildings will gradually start reopening to the public. And after today, the mayor says the city's COVID-19 briefings will happen on as needed basis. The change comes after city officials held close to 200 regularly scheduled press conferences during the pandemic.
Peel Public Health's most recent report showed that from July 23rd, so the most recent report on July 23rd showed that between June 1st and July 9th, 100% of the people hospitalized in Peel from COVID-19 were either unvaccinated or partially vaccinated. That's a staggering figure.
Brampton's mayor citing some recent figures to encourage those who haven't been vaccinated to roll up their sleeve. Peel Region officials say 80% of residents 12 and over have had at least one dose of vaccine. 65% are fully immunized. One man is dead and another has been arrested after a stabbing downtown overnight.
It's really unfortunate. I've lived in Regent Park for over 10 years, and every time an act of violence occurs in our community, it's terrible. We need more services. We need more, community involvement.
I think anybody that's been living here for a while, it doesn't surprise anyone. There's always something that happens. Usually it's even more close to home.
Like, this community has been like this for a pretty long time.
Around 2:30 this morning, police were called to the Girard and River Street area. They found a man in the middle of the road who had been stabbed. He was taken to hospital where he died a short time later. Officers arrested another man with a knife nearby. So far, no word on charges. Durham police have laid charges against the general manager of a long-term care home after allegations that staff members had removed door handles from some residents' rooms. Police say they began their investigation in February, looking into the claims at White Cliff Terrace retirement resident in Curtis. They have now arrested and charged a 40-year-old Oshawa man who was the general manager at the time. He's charged with 2 counts of unlawful confinement. Hundreds of victims of an Ottawa fertility doctor will share a proposed multi-million-dollar settlement for damages. The settlement flows from a class action lawsuit filed back in 2016 and was certified by an Ontario judge today. The disgraced doctor, Norman Barwin, used the wrong sperm or his own sperm in the conception of hundreds of children. Amanda Pfeffer has more.
Norman Barwin was one of the most renowned fertility doctors in Canada, so trusted by patients, some called him a baby god.
We are fully aware of the torment and the frustrations that are going through their own relationship.
Dan and Davina Dixon sought Barwin's help to conceive at the doctor's clinic in Ottawa. In 1990, Rebecca was born. But in recent years, they found out Dan is not Rebecca's biological father. Barwin is.
I remember just this wave of shock.
Today, Rebecca and her parents are the lead plaintiffs in the newly certified class action lawsuit. 5 years in the making, it has a proposed settlement of more than $13 million.
I think we're really pleased and excited that we're moving ahead now.
The proposed settlement means parents who have discovered their child is not biologically related to the man in the couple can qualify for $50,000 each. Those children can qualify for $40,000. 17 children involved in the suit have DNA tests suggesting Barwin is their biological father. The parents of another 83 children claim Barwin used the wrong sperm, and many don't know who the biological father is. So part of the money has been put aside to create a DNA database. Claimants and sperm donors can enter their DNA information voluntarily to help find family connections.
It is an opportunity for the former patients to, in a private and controlled method, to determine whether there are matches between the various patients.
For Rebecca Dixon, closure may not come for some time.
I am prepared that every couple years or even every few months there'll be new people popping up through DNA testing sites who've never heard of the lawsuit, and then we have to try and walk them through what we're all experiencing and what the situation is.
The agreement makes clear that this is not an admission of wrongdoing. In fact, it says that Norman Barwin continues to deny all of the plaintiff's claims in the class action. It says he agreed to settle in order to, quote, avoid the time, risk, and expense of continuing with litigation. Amanda Pfeffer, CBC News, Ottawa.
Premier Doug Ford was in Thunder Bay today to meet with wildfire evacuees and visit the command center there.
I'm come up here to talk to the chiefs and talk to the ministry and find out if there's anything they need. By all means, they can reach out to us. I gave my personal cell number. We're being briefed a couple times a day to make sure that we evacuate anyone that needs to.
About 160 active fires are burning in the northwest of Ontario. 20 of them are new. Thunder Bay is a strategic hub for coordinating the fight against those fires and also for sheltering evacuees forced from their homes. Evacuation efforts have taken place in 5 First Nations, affecting over 3,000 people. Indigenous leaders and the opposition have called on the Premier to declare a state of emergency, but he says there's already emergency orders in place and the province is making any and all resources available. The number of forest fires reported in Ontario this year is already nearly double the average over the last decade, with the amount of land burned about 3 times higher than the 10-year average. And it was so bad up there, it even affected us down here, Colin. Just incredible.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Dwight. And we do have some of that haziness kind of back in our skies, too. And I'm going to take a closer look at what's going on at the moment with the weather situation in northwestern Ontario. And I just want to show you, first of all, what our temperatures are looking like, because these are below seasonal. Our daytime maximums running around almost 5 degrees below seasonal. Well, that's certainly where we're going as we head into the holiday weekend with some cooler air that's going to be coming our way. So it's 23 degrees right now. The exception's been right in extreme southwestern Ontario, so down towards Leamington and Windsor. You can see Windsor, 27 degrees. They've got a humidex there of 35. Now, we did have our humidex up there a little bit more significant, upper 20s towards 30 earlier in the day, and finding those dew points are coming down a little bit, so it feels a bit better. But then we've got moisture coming on the way with this next system that's going to be moving in. So dry conditions for now. I do want to show you, like I said, just kind of a closer look. So this is positive in one sense, getting some nice, in some cases, soaking rains in here, although it's somewhat localized. But let me now add on what's happening with the lightning strikes. And yeah, see how many of those there are? So the concern is, in one sense, the rainfall really helps with the wildfire situation, but then the other is that lightning, because it's so dry in general, can be starting and striking up new fires. So that's the system, though, that will be moving in and having an impact on us. This model wants to pull up a few spotty showers. Pretty unlikely. They'd be highly isolated. It's into tomorrow in the morning hours. We will get into a more widespread, steadier rain, and then still instability as we work our way through the day. So some scattered showers carry on not only into the afternoon, but into the evening. We'll get into another round as well. So those are scattered. Again, the steadier stuff in the morning, but having the umbrella around, and vast numbers in terms of what we'll see in the rainfall region, over 20, 25 millimeters back towards London, but elsewhere we're looking at 5 to 10 into much of the GTA. The temperatures tonight, these are closer to seasonal with your overnight lows and your daytime highs. I said, as we go into the holiday weekend, it is cooler. And not only that, don't be worried about this. This is late Saturday into Sunday morning. It's not all day, both days.
Yeah, we still see the rain on the graphic there, Colin. Thank you.
No problem.
Tokyo reported more than 3,100 new COVID-19 cases today. That represents an all-time high. It's also the first time the daily count has exceeded 3,000 since the start of the Olympics. Experts believe the more contagious Delta variant is the cause of this surge. There is no evidence the Olympics participants are contributing to the spread despite concerns. Tokyo is already under its 4th state of emergency. Japan has controlled COVID-19 better than many countries, but it started its vaccination campaign late. There are now concerns cases could overwhelm hospitals. You can block the rain on the graphics, Colin, but you can't block them coming from the sky.
No, I cannot do that. I do not have those powers, Dwight. So let's talk about what is coming our way in terms of that rainfall. So this is a picture for northwestern Ontario and some of the rain and thunderstorms. And by the way, they have several watches and severe thunderstorm warnings in here, along with, of course, all the air quality statement problems and some of that smoke. Yes, again, the haziness making its way towards us, but this system is coming towards us too. And so what it means is, for tonight, maybe the odd isolated little sprinkle is going to show up. This model wants to pull something in. I'm not seeing that. What I am going to be showing you, though, is what happens towards tomorrow morning. We do get into more of a widespread rain. There'll be some pockets around the London region, maybe even Kitchener-Waterloo, where you get into a little bit heavier in terms of the amounts, so that 20 towards 25 millimeters. It's likely to be more like 5 to 10 for the GTA locally. A few areas could see more. Most of that in the morning more organized, but then a few spotty showers and thunderstorms even possible into the afternoon and even the evening. So that's something to be mindful for. You will need the umbrella throughout the day. And then looking at our temperature, our high of 24, and then some of that cooler air that is coming in for the weekend, the holiday weekend. Pretty cool.
Haven't put the sprinkler out in weeks. Thank you, Colette.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That's our show for tonight. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you back here tomorrow at 6. Stay safe, everybody.